When the US women's national team won its fourth World Cup title on a Sunday in France 2 years ago, the financial prize for US soccer was $4 million. This seems like a lot of money because it is a lot of money, but in the world of FIFA, it is half what teams at the Men's World Cup get for walking in the door. Load era Panama lost all three of its games by a composite 9 goals and finished 32nd out of 32 teams at the 2018 World Cup in Russia. Its federation was paid $8 million for this performance. Whether they can do anything about it is another matter altogether. We have been working in this area, USSF President Cindy Parlow-Cone told Sporting News during a press call Tuesday. It's not just pushing FIFA. Everyone needs to realize we're one of 211 federations that make up FIFA, and it's a top-down, bottom-up approach that we need to take. First of all, we need to help the other federations and the countries actually see the value in the women's game and value what it can bring, and what it can do for their country and soccer, football in their country. And then the top-down approach is trying to push FIFA and help them see the value in the game and investing in the women's and girls' side of the game at the same level as the men's and boys' side of the game. What can we do to make a change tomorrow? Not much. But over time, we're hopeful, because we've seen it here in the US, and parts of Europe, that there's huge interest in the women's side of the game. And if everyone invests at the same level as they are on the men's side, the game globally is going to grow, and FIFA and everyone else will get the benefit of that. The prize pool for the 2018 World Cup in Russia was $400 million. For the Women's World Cup in France the following year, it was $30 million. The men's event is the biggest television draw in the world and, that year, attracted a global audience of 3.57 billion. By FIFA's valuation, if the women were to be paid according to their viewership, their 2019 tournament should have been watched by about 275 million people, except the audience for the Women's World Cup was 1 billion. If we take FIFA at its word regarding the worth of the men's tournament, then the women's prize pool ought to have been at least $112 million, which would have increased the US first place payout to just short of $15 million. There'd be a lot less reason for the women's team and the US Federation to be arguing about money if that kind of cash were flowing into Soccer House. FIFA has committed to expanding the prize pool for the Women's World Cup in 2023. It's scheduled to increase by $30 million to $60 million. That sounds like a lot of money because it is a lot of money. But it's not as grand as the increase in the men's prize pool for the 2022 World Cup, which will jump by $40 million. FIFA is not even trying to look like it cares. Back in this country, the USWNT took the USSF to court in March 2019 in a class action lawsuit over unequal pay and unequal working conditions. While the two sides reached a settlement on the working conditions like travel, charters, hotel, stadiums, the USWNT is still appealing to have the unequal pay argument reinstated after a district judge tossed it out in a summary judgment ruling in favor of the USSF. The USWNT was asking for more than $66 million in damages in that portion of the suit, including making up the difference in FIFA prize money. The difference in prize money FIFA distributes between men's and women's teams is pretty stark, US Soccer Secretary General Will Wilson said on the call. We are going to continue to work on this with FIFA to eliminate the gap in prize money as we also continue to support women's professional soccer in the US. Setting aside the dispute over the FIFA prize money, Cone and Wilson indicated that they want to meet with the players to settle the equal pay claims out of court and to also discuss a new collective bargaining agreement since the current CBA expires at the end of 2021. But Wilson said, asking us to make up the difference in FIFA prize money is untenable, and would likely bankrupt the federation, given the $28 million deficit for 2020 that largely resulted from the COVID-19 pandemic. That might even be true. What's beyond dispute, though, is the principal villain in the USWNT's fight is headquartered in Switzerland, not Chicago. And if the players and federation were to find themselves on the same side in the future, it would be a lot more difficult for FIFA to ignore the equal pay protests.